This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you in part through a grant from
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our first Selectman State of the Town address. We would like to thank Fantasia for hosting this event for us today. They have a great staff here. They do a terrific job, and we thank them. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, TD Bank, and both North Haven Funeral Home and Ciola and D'Onofrio, who have been sponsoring this event for years. We truly appreciate their continued support. And we'd like to have Jeff to come up and say a few words, if you would.
Thank you very much. We're honored to be a sponsor again this year, and it's great to see so many people come out on a really cold day. Mike has done a phenomenal job in his 5 years here in North Haven. Actually, this is your 6th year now. Focusing on economic development, he started to get some recognition statewide. He got an award this past fall from the Connecticut Economic Resource Center. And it's great to see Tony Resigno here as well, because Tony sets the bar very high for economic development. As a matter of fact, I forgot to tell you yesterday, Tony, that I was out in New Haven on Monday night, and somebody was at a nearby table. I was eavesdropping, and they were talking about the key people that you need to know if you're in business in New Haven County, and they named Tony as their #1 go-to guy. And right. So we're very fortunate. You know, there's a lot that we can't control economic development-wise at the state and national level, but everything that can be done at a local level, thanks to a very active chamber and thanks to leaders like Mike Freda and Tony Resigno, everything that can be done to support us in our business endeavors is being done. So thanks. Have a good lunch.
Thanks, Jeff. If you've ever wondered, what exactly does your chamber do? If you look on your table, you'll see a list that kind of puts it in a nutshell for us. So please take a look so we can update you on what we are working on to support our communities and our businesses. We'd also like to acknowledge the companies that have supported us throughout the year as our premier partners, our star supporters, our corporate sponsors, and our business partners. Our premier partner is Component Engineer. Our star supporter is Healthy CT, and Karen Clark is here today. Thank you, Karen. Our corporate sponsors are Alnex, BIC USA, Choate Rosemary Hall, CST Wallingford, Lipper International, Midstate Medical Center, Nucor Steel, Record Journal, Ulbrich Stainless Steels, Workforce Alliance, and Chris Reardon is here today from Workforce Alliance. Oh, I'm sorry. And we have our business partners, Attorney John Mezzanotti, Brzezinski and Company, Diversified Employment Services, Kenbar Solutions, TD Bank, Diane Grazioli is here. Where's Diane? Around here somewhere. There you are. Webster Bank and United Illuminating. We could not do all those things on that list if it weren't for the support of our sponsors, so we thank them. And of course, we wouldn't be the chamber that we are without a fantastic team. We have Maribel Carrion, Brittany Bishop, Liz Davis, Tarn Granucci is our new sales associate, and of course the staff from the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce steps in anytime that we need help, so I'd like to have a big round of applause for them. Right there. And now I'd like to bring up the president of the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce and the Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce, Tony Resigno.
Thank you, Dee. It's great to see everybody. You know, it's always nice to come back to North Haven. I mean, I'm here every night, but during the business day, it's very special. So thank you for being here. Let me thank Dee in particular for the outstanding job she's been doing since we started our affiliation just over a year ago. Appreciate it, Dee. You've done a great job, and your staff is terrific. You know, it's just been over a year since we formed the affiliation with Quinnipiac, and I have to say, it is skyrocketed. The things that we're doing is really special. We've seen excellent financial results. We've seen excellent attendance at our events. We've got more events. It's just been a wonderful experience. far exceeds any expectation that I had. So we're looking forward to another great year, and it all is due to the folks that are running that thing every single day of the week, Dee and her team. I want to thank some of our board members are here, Diane Grazioli from TD Bank, Karen Clark from Healthy CT. Karen just joined our board. We're delighted. Lou D'Agostino from Ciula and D'Onofrio. Shay Atmaru from Diversified Technology. Thank you, Shay, for being here. Any other board members that I've missed? Terrific. I also want to acknowledge Robin Wilson, our former president of the Quinnipiac Chamber that built this chamber to the place that it is today. So great job. I want to acknowledge Sean Clary. Sean is a new member of our staff and is doing government affairs work and economic development work both for our chamber in New Haven and the Quinnipiac Chamber. So Sean, just if you can just raise your hand or stand up, that would be great. And there's a copy of the legislative agenda on your table. And for those of you that are more exclusively Quinnipiac members, please participate with us in the New Haven area because our issues are the same. It's economic strength for this state and, low taxes and low regulation, the kinds of things that Mike likes to talk about in North Haven. Let me acknowledge the police chief. Thank you for coming, Chief. I've got on my list here to acknowledge the fire chief, but I think he might be putting out a fire because I don't see him. But Vin Landizio and Tom McLaughlin, a couple of great guys that do a terrific job. It is now my pleasure to get right to the point of this discussion today, and that's to invite up our first selectman, Mike Freda. I couldn't be more proud of the work that he's doing. Of course, I think I always did it better, but he beats me at the polls. So he wins by greater margin. So that might be a more objective assessment of how Mike is doing. Mike's a great guy. He's been in office almost 6 years and yet still comes to me and says, hey, what would you do here? And some of that is great salesmanship, and some of that is I hope that he values the relationship that we have. So it is just my pleasure. I'm not going to drone on his resume and the things that make him special because you all know him. But let me introduce Mike Freda, your first selectman and my first selectman, and I'm glad you're here, Mike.
Thank you very much, Tony. And if I can be half the first selectman you were for those years, almost 12 years, I would be proud of that. You've been a wonderful resource for me. I've admired you for years when you were our first selectman, and I hope to be at least half as good as you were. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure working with you with the Chamber also. I'd like to thank our sponsors for today. You heard from Jeff D'Onofrio, Ciula and D'Onofrio, TD Bank, and the Funeral Home of North Haven with the wonderful Havens family. Great businesses here in North Haven, and we really enjoy working with them. So it's hard to believe that this is the 6th year I've been here giving the State of the Town address. 6 years, 5.5 really have gone by, and it seems like yesterday that I first took office. And I want you to know, all the businesses here, we truly enjoy working with you in North Haven. We truly enjoy having you here, and thank you for the wonderful job you do for the Chamber. So North Haven today. North Haven is at the precipice of greatness, as I see it. From a financial standpoint, we are AAA rated. We continue to provide a high level of services, and I'm very fortunate to have a wonderful staff, many of whom are here today, working with great boards and commissions, working with a great board of selectmen to continue to move this great town forward. We, like many municipalities, are always faced with challenges, the rising cost of the services that we provide. We continue to provide those services, we continue to embrace the business community, and we've had a degree of success from an economic development standpoint. I'd like to take you through some of the things that are happening in the town, from new businesses coming in, new businesses that we brought in, and some prospective projects that will manifest themselves into, I think, wonderful things here in the great town of North Haven. Last year I took you on a virtual visual tour, and that seemed to resonate with everybody, so I'd like to replicate that, and we'll start down at Universal Drive. Since last year, we have filled a space down in the southern portion of that plaza, and we now have a Comcast Xfinity service center right north of the Buffalo Wild Wings there. We're working very diligently to complete the vacant spaces in that plaza, and we have had the Five Below come in to replace the Staples. That happened last year. And we're really shoring up that end of town in terms of getting 100% occupancy. Across the street, where the Home Depot is in that plaza, at the site of the old Expect Discount, very shortly you're going to see the emergence of Dick's Sporting Goods coming there. That's a major national retailer that has had a great impact on many communities across the country. And that will precipitate a renovation of that side of the plaza, which will be much more aesthetically pleasing, filling a large space there with a high traffic and a high foot count generator with Dick's. So having that plaza anchored by Home Depot and Dick's Sporting Goods, I think is a great thing for that plaza, and we know that the 1 or 2 spaces that are still vacant there, we'll be able to fill those vacancies once Dick's comes in. Across the street, if you drive by the Rave Cinema, you'll see the emergence from the ground in the background of an exciting new Cinemark theater. That theater will be an upscale theater, and that theater will feature high-end concession stands, some plush seating, and once that is built, we will see the dismantling of the Rave Theater, and in that front parking lot, there are 4 new pad sites that'll be going in there. I can tell you that one is already just about done. They're coming before our regulatory boards and commissions, an exciting new restaurant that'll come there. That leaves us 3 more pad sites, and our goal, working with our Economic Development Commission, Richard Lopresti and I work very closely together, we'd like to see 2 restaurants and 2 retailers there in a 4-pad site. We're working closely with Cinemark, who is the developer, and Cinemark has been wonderful to work with, a California company, because they also have access to major retailers across the country. And we're trying to determine which retailers that we don't have that we'd like to get that would be excellent for North Haven. So visualize a completed site at the site of the old Rave Theater that includes a brand new Cinemark and 4 new businesses in the front site there. As we move down Universal Drive and take a left on Sackett Point Road, in the next couple of years, you're going to see the beginning of the widening of that Sackett Point Road bridge. Jonathan Bodwell, our town engineer, Lynn Sadowski are working very closely with us and the state from an engineering standpoint to ensure that that is widened and restructured. That'll help us with the traffic there coming out of Universal Drive. Proceeding westbound on Sackett Point Road, one of the largest Grand List members in town is Connecticut Container. And we have had a lot of discussions with Connecticut Container because they were busting at the seams. They needed a place to go or a place to expand. And through a great deal of discussions with Connecticut Container, we were able to orchestrate an expansion for them here in North Haven. Now keep in mind, this is a business that also has a plant and a facility in Massachusetts, so it was critically important that we look to expand with a large Grand List member. And we're happy to say that that is in process. If we take a right on State Street proceeding northbound and we go to 297 State Street, we're very happy with the fact that Federal Express has taken 100,000 square feet of that 372,000 square foot facility. Now that just gives us about 300,000 square feet of occupancy, and we're looking to work, and we are working with the developer there, the building owner, to complete that expansion there. That represents a total of 372,000 square foot, the old Northeast Graphics Quebecor facility, and to get a company like FedEx expanding in North Haven to do that, we think is a wonderful thing. As we proceed north on State Street, to the right on the corner of Stiles, you will see a juxtaposition change of businesses. A new Cumberland Farms gas station and convenience store will be on State Street on the corner of State and Stiles, and J. Ruse is moving around the corner on Stiles. So the net gain there is an additional business. If we go down Stiles, I can tell you that the long-term future of North Haven is to build a giant a giant commercial park on the 17 acres that were there from the old parking lot of the old Upjohn facility. I see that, ladies and gentlemen, as a 5 to 6 year plan, that Pfizer will be the landlord there, and that will be a very exciting thing for North Haven down the road. At that site, if you go down one block on the corner of State and Devine, we're working very closely with the Department of Transportation to build a train station there. We are in what's called a 15% design phase, soon to get into a 30% design phase. I can tell you that the Department of Transportation is totally supportive of our efforts here. I also serve as co-chair of the State Rail Commission, which has put us very visible with the DOT for the last 2 years as we look to connect train stations up and down the corridor. That will be an incendiary spark to continue to develop the area a little bit more. The DOT likes the fact that, unlike other municipalities who would like to use a train station to precipitate development, we've already, the town of North Haven, has been able to create multiple development projects there. So the DOT really is on board because the goal would be to insert a train station already in the development. And that development includes the medical epicenter with Yale New Haven Hospital there, of course the existing businesses there, the Central Village Animal Hospital, which we brought in a couple of years ago, the group of cardiologists, which we brought in a couple of years ago, and in the spring, a very exciting project will be emerging, and that'll be the emergence of roughly another 14,000 square foot medical building on that site in our effort to bring in more medical services into that area. A little bit farther down State Street going north, you see the emergence of the 55 and over community. That's roughly 160 units there, and already there's a great deal of interest there. These projects all are taxable incremental revenue for the town. Now, as we move past State Street and go down Washington Avenue, past the Route 22 split, let's pause for a moment. And if we were to take a right on Clintonville Road going eastbound, at the site of the old Clintonville Manor, we've just introduced and proposed an exciting new project there. And that is a senior assistant living facility that will be built by the Maplewood Corporation, who does that as part of their expertise. This will be roughly an 85 or 90 unit facility that will have a medical component on site. For the town, it will generate approximately an additional $300,000 in tax revenue. It will provide for seniors who need assisted living. It will have a 3-meal-a-day component to it with medical services, I said, on site, and that will precipitate not only a new business, if you will, coming in, but something that can provide for seniors, but also an aesthetic enhancement over the facility that has become somewhat dilapidated. Moving northbound on Washington Avenue, we're very excited to have United Bank with us as another incendiary spark to help us improve the whole plaza. I can tell you that the family that owns that plaza has been a real joy to work with. For those long-standing North Haven residents, you will remember that the North Haven Shopping Center was almost a mecca, a destination in town for many, many years. And we're looking to redo that whole plaza for an aesthetic facelift improvement, and we're also happy to announce that Tractor Supply is willing to go in there, another national retailer that has a great following. So that will be where the old Namco facility is. We were fortunate to get Retro Fitness in the old Walgreens, so that was another tenant, but we still have some work to do in that South Side Plaza there with where the Town Fair Tire is. Moving northbound on Washington Avenue, if you drive by the site of Parisi Motors, you will see that those buildings have been knocked down. The Parisi family has also been a delight to work with, working with them trying to create an outcome there. Although I can't share the details here today, one of 2 outcomes are going to happen there that I'm very, very excited about. So you will see that emerging in the next, let's say, several months. Going northbound on Washington Avenue, at the site of the old Munson Motors, the old Dial Tone for those long-standing North Haven residents, and that little house that's there, those buildings are going to be torn down. and an exciting new plaza is going to be put there, working with that developer. All of these projects, ladies and gentlemen, are very, very exciting. The difference between municipal government and us as business people, even coming from the business world that I did, any new businesses that we get sometimes can be applied immediately to that fiscal year budget. In government, as Tony well knows, it does not necessarily happen that way. The grand lists are always behind. So all of these projects, although very exciting, the real revenue benefit and the real revenue impact will hit us in future years. And that ties into the three different dimensions that I try to work on every day. Dimension number one is present, the present dimension of working at the day-to-day responsibilities of running North Haven's government, working with wonderful department heads and employees. That's very important. I also try to work on a short-term future plan that includes some of these projects that we're referring to right now. But what's a great deal of interest to me, too, is ensuring the long-term success and future of North Haven, so that when the time comes when either the public doesn't want me as the chief elected official or I'm no longer the chief elected official, because all of us aren't going to be around forever, I want to ensure that this government and this wonderful town is in great hands for whoever takes it over for the future. Tied into that, I'm fully committed to being your chief elected official. Although I have not publicly announced it, I thought I would use this as the first public announcement that I will be running again for election this November. So I wanted to state that publicly. There are certain unfinished objectives, and one of which is the Pratt Whitney site and completing these projects that we talked about. Although I can't say today what's going to happen at the Pratt Whitney site, this is one of two major parcels in our town. One is in the south side, the Sullivan parcel, the 100 acres in the south part of town, and the other, of course, is Pratt Whitney. Although I can't tell you what the outcomes are going to be, I can tell you this: there will be outcomes, and there will be positive outcomes for the town of North Haven. Because what we realize, ladies and gentlemen, whether it's in business, whether it's in sports, coming from a sports background, or whether it's in government, we can get things done through the sheer force of our collective and individual wills. And even at this stage, 6 years now, my 6th year into this job, I still find that I have an implacable will to get things done. And that's what I'm motivated and driven by. Getting things done positively for North Haven, working with the residents, communicating with people, solving problems, and moving this government forward. And keep this in mind, that the winds that ride on the high tide of economic development will always whistle a couple of different melodies. And those melodies will manifest themselves into jobs, into new businesses, into incremental tax dollars and services for our residents in the town of North Haven in an effort to minimize the tax burden for our citizens. So as I come to a close, I'd like to thank everyone here today. It's been an incredible joy, an incredible honor to serve as your chief elected official. And I'm fully committed and focused for the future to continue to work with you and be North Haven's chief elected official. Thank you very, very much.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube.